This episode of TechZilla is sponsored by GoToMeeting. Rev3 Games, Adam Sessler, you, sir, were at the event.
Yes.
Welcome back to TechZilla. You know, most people, they saw the thing, they saw the dog with the motion capture, which was possibly the best part of the entire Microsoft Xbox One reveal, and then they were like, where's the gameplay? Where's the game? Where's the 15 exclusive titles? What about my old Xbox games? And you were able to puzzle out some of those answers.
Yes. To say I don't always look at the internet as a good barometer of the population, but I got home last night and I got to say I had 2,600 replies on Twitter and 98% of them were negative.
It was crazy because you know, Veronica, you know, Tara, Anthony, Max, and I were all sitting watching the event, and I'm watching them just get draw!
Yeah.
And then the dog video, and then Anthony's recreation of Call of Duty improv style.
Which, yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, that has to be seen.
Rev3
it has
Games.
to be seen.
YouTube.com/Rev3 Games. Just look for Anthony. It's amazing. But seriously, Call of Duty and Madden, hugely popular. FIFA 14. It was funny. Somebody did a cut of the entire presentation. It was like TV, sports, TV, sports, TV,
and the thing is, I knew that was going to happen.
Right.
And I think a lot of people who were very tuned in knew that was going to happen. Aaron Greenberg, who's the general manager, had said this on the podcast that comes out of Microsoft. I don't think that was an effective way of trying to reach the very large audience that tuned in. The way that I now realize they're looking at this is you saw part one of their E3 press conference, and there's me part two. I also don't think that was a very good idea.
But literally, you know, they were like 15 games, 15 exclusive titles. We're going to be in, and all I can think of is, man, they are going to stomp Sony like a narc at a biker rally at E3, if anybody's still talking to them at E3.
Right. I mean, that's the thing, is that, you know, when they talk about 15 games, that's a lot coming from Microsoft. And one of the big questions going in is, how many studios do they have? How can they have these games where Sony has all these really renowned studios that are inside of Sony that make these great games, like Uncharted? That was a very strong statement that they should have followed up on a little bit. So the way to look at it, by their own admission, they're trying to get the boring parts out of the way. Right. And, you know, that involves a lot of the functionality that isn't specific to games and the requisite the thing where you have to slap Activision on the back, you have to hug EA and do all that. They did that, but they somehow thought that the people who were watching weren't core gamers. And who else is going to tune into this but core gamers? And by not serving them anything, and really by alienating them with television, unlike you and I, younger people, Max Scoville included, don't watch that much television, so they didn't have anything to really latch onto with that. They don't play sports games, and Call of Duty, which has now become kind of an icon of where the industry went that no one wanted it to go. Right. You know, it's successful because it has people that only play Call of Duty. They were not the ones who were tuning in. If they really didn't talk to that audience, and they could have, with just a few tweaks to that, you know, trying to just show maybe one of those exclusive titles by showing the game, not showing a trailer, they could have done that. And I think by spending more time explaining how the cloud, how, you know, all these things are inside of this box, that I think at the end of the day is impressive, are going to be enhancing their gameplay experience, but they just missed that opportunity completely.
So one of the things Anthony brought up is that Sony has done this fantastic job of kind of going, come to us. Microsoft does not love you independent game developers, not like we do, and trying to basically get the smaller game developers on their platform and locked in and excited about them, or just making exclusive titles for them. I mean, this is a big deal for the living room. This is a big deal as an entertainment device. This is a big deal for a company that goes, wow, the average household in America is watching 153 hours of television, but only playing 40 or 80 hours of video games. We want to put our advertisements.
It's the Trojan horse.
Right.
Is that for some people, you have a game console that has these other, you know, things that it can do, and then for other members of the family, here's this thing that helps control your television, and you can get all these apps on it. Oh, I might try a game now. And that's especially important because of the way that the games look like they're going to be sold. In the beginning, at least, you can still buy the disc, but you're going to install it to the hard drive, which means you can probably also just download it to the hard drive. They're trying to get ready for the all-digital future where you're not going to deal with a physical disc. And
the no resale future.
Right. You know, and that's a big thing. People want to know about these used games. And yeah, the thing is, the used game market is going to go away. Now, having said that, the article that came out in Wired detailing that you use an activation code that may or may not be reusable, or if it is reusable, you're paying full price for that game. GameStop, the retailer, their stock took a nosedive. So I think that we've gotten a little bit out ahead. They got out ahead of what of their messaging, not so much to the gamers, but to a lot of their business partners who are also going to be impacted by these decisions.
For example, I don't know, Walmart.
Exactly.
And it's funny, right? Because I'm kind of split on that, because on one hand, I think Steam is amazing. I think Steam is wonderful, but I've got a lot of relatives who are in parts of the country where, hey, a megabit down on DSL is still considered pretty good.
And you know what? I have to say, I don't know this for a fact, but I think that is something that Microsoft is not taking into consideration. With all due respect to people that live in those environs, when you look at a city like New York City or a state like California, you start getting like 20% of the population in those various areas that are playing the Xbox. For their revenues, they don't need to be paying attention to that part of the country. It's kind of an ugly reality.
I think you need to be careful with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disparaging people for choosing to live there, but I think this is going to show a digital divide that the infrastructure has got to change in this country so you can have this service anywhere.
As somebody who was watching cable finally get rolled out into parts of Brooklyn in the late 80s and early 90s, I think you'd be shocked at how poor the infrastructure is in some of the dense population sections.
I mean, I also don't think they're absolutely tone deaf to the fact that, for a lot of people, even in urban areas, they don't have the most reliable and consistent internet connection, and that is something that they have to overcome. And once again, they should have been clear on this messaging and why they can't talk about the bad news or the uncomfortable news. They should have done that yesterday and then make E3 into the big party about all the games that they have. It's absolutely puzzling to me why they cannot address these issues head on.
So at this point, do you think we know it's vastly more powerful. It's going to have vastly better graphics. It's going to have vastly better storage. It's going to have the Kinect 2 is probably the coolest
most impressive
thing,
thing that we saw yesterday. I mean, I actually got a chance to play with it, not inside of a game, but just kind of playing with skeletal models, how it handles low light scenarios. It actually goes to kind of a night vision if you turn off the lights. There's a lot of interesting potential in there. Once again, if they had just shown that inside of a game, we'd be having an entirely different conversation today.
I think I was reading Wired got an exclusive on the hardware, and I think it was Wired who was talking about the Kinect controller. The manager that's running that program is 6'4", and part of the issue, like Max is like, I hate the Kinect. I'm a giraffe on the Kinect. It doesn't work. Well, Max is like giant person. So the guy that runs the Kinect group is 6'4", and he can now stand in front of the Kinect 2, 3 feet in front of it, and his entire body and arms up above his head.
Both being too tall or too close seem to have been mitigated in a big way. And I think, I was not a fan of Kinect. Kinect and motion controls really say to a lot of core
game reviewers were a fan of Kinect, and then 11 million were sold in like 8 minutes, and then everybody went, huh.
But the thing is, because it's coming with the system, you can look at it as just being another layer to the functionality that you can or cannot engage in, and that developers will not be obliged to have Kinect controls, which is really the big issue in this generation, which I think will not be going forward.
So it's going to be funny, like one of the secret things inside of the Kinect 2 is the fact that it can apparently detect your pulse. I mean, can you imagine how evil can a game developer get if they can see your pulse going up in panic mode and then really hammer you?
Horror games can get really, really interesting. That it can either maybe tone it down so you can get through the level or start to ramp up or play with you because they know you're in kind of an anxious state.
So a lot of gamers up in arms. Do you think they're still going to be up in arms after E3?
That is a great question. And that all comes down to what they were talking about. 15 exclusive titles that are going to come out over the next 2 holiday seasons if these games are compelling. And that's one area where Microsoft has something of a challenge, is that they have Gears of War and they have Halo. Those are strong games, but they also are not, I would say, the most innovative games. And I think they need to have that meat and potato stuff, but they have to show their willingness, as Sony always does, to invest in stuff that may not be as financially successful, but show something innovative and creative that are going to get that core audience to kind of get a sense of identity about the console. I am not 100% that Microsoft can do that, but if they really do a good showing in terms of those games, I think that we may be forgetting about what happened yesterday, and I agree with you, the marketing muscle and the organization inside of Microsoft give them a huge edge in the marketplace. Sony, they do great stuff, but they really trip over themselves left and right because of the strange organization of Europe, America, and Japan. And I love Sony, but I'm also very cautious about them if they understand what the stakes are going forward.
It's going to be interesting. Sony, all in on games. Microsoft, all in on entertainment. We wait with bated breath. Adam, excellent information as always. Ladies and gentlemen, youtube.com/Rev3Games. We're going to find more Adam and, of course, Tara, Max, Anthony. The whole gaming crew from Rev3 is there. youtube.com/Rev3Games. Right now, let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, GoToMeeting. Get the whole crew together. You'll find it's amazing what you can pull off. Projects that would take weeks on the phone, decisions that would take days of email back and forth. Boom, they get done right then and there at the table. But getting everybody to that table, what a nightmare. Airline tickets, hotels, lost productivity during travel. It's a mess, which is why you should be using GoToMeeting with HD Faces. Get your entire team together the easy way, online. With GoToMeeting, you share the same screen so you stay on the same page, and the built-in HD video conferencing makes your online meetings just like being in the same room. You can read the expressions, keep track of everybody in the room. And it's simple to launch or join a meeting from anywhere. Got an iPad? You can present. Laptop, desktop, smartphone, they all run GoToMeeting. No more excuses for missing a meeting or an opportunity. Can't wait to start saving time and money at your company? You can try GoToMeeting today for free. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code TechZilla. Remember, use the promo code TechZilla at GoToMeeting.com. Simplify your life, save money. These are good things. GoToMeeting.com. Use the promo code TechZilla.